Welcome to season 2 of No Shelf Control, the podcast with books, booze, and banter, hosted by authors for readers, because let's face it, we're all bookworms at heart.
This season, we'll be chatting about book-to-screen adaptations and trending BookTok books. I'm Lindsey Sparks.
And I'm Lindsey Pogue. Grab a cocktail, kick back, and enjoy the show.
And I just have to say that we're laughing while we're doing that because last episode, I totally forgot that I do half of it.
Oh man, I can't find it. Yeah.
Yes.
It's okay. It's all right. We're not perfect. Makes us more human, I guess. But anyways, well, welcome everybody to this episode. Tonight, the Lindseys, I don't really know if we're going by Team Lindsey anymore, but the Lindseys, we're going to be chatting about BookTok sensation novel called The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And I think it's got a lot of good stuff that we can unpack. So it's exciting to talk about that.
I feel like I need to start off by saying I don't usually read this kind of book, which is like, and if we had like a bingo card, I feel like that would be one of the things.
Yeah.
Sparks says, I don't usually read this genre.
Yes. And for everybody who has video, this is what the cover looks like.
Yes. Very cool. Evelyn's
signature emerald green dress. Yeah. So
it was really good though. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah. It was really good. And it was actually recommended to me by my sister, who I don't know how she got a hold of it, but she's not quite as avid a reader as we are. But when she was like, oh my gosh, it's so good, I was like, oh, I better check this book out. And then I saw it over on TikTok and I was like, okay, this has to be one of our books. So I'm excited that we did read it. I have to say that I have read one other book by this author. I read Malibu Rising, which is also a TikTok sensation, and I didn't actually really care for that book. So I was kind of, iffy going into this one. So I'm glad that I liked it, and I can talk more about that later because it kind of ties into the story as well. So anyway, but yeah, so we're here. We read it. Even though I have the paperback and borrowed it from my sister, I listened to the audio.
I also listened to the audio.
But anyway, so we'll get into book talk in a minute. We will make sure that we announce the spoiler zone later on, but do please keep in mind that we will be talking about the book a lot.
Explicitly.
So, yes. So anyways, let's start off with the good stuff. As always, it's evening for both of us on the West Coast. So yeah, what are you doing? Oh, you're winding down your evening. I'm assuming you're freshly showered. Thank you.
I am freshly showered. Video watchers can see my drying hair.
It's nice.
Delightful. Yeah, I just jumped out of the shower. I was like, I just have time to do it. Yay. And I am drinking sparkling water because I have been super sleepy lately and I don't want to like zone out in the middle of podcasting right now.
Got it.
I've just been waking up really early. I feel like you of all people can relate to this, LP, because you sleep terribly.
Yeah. Are you waking up for a specific reason? Like,
no, I just have been waking up really early.
Oh,
so
yeah.
And I keep falling asleep at like when we're watching TV at night, just fall asleep on the couch. I'm like turning into your husband, basically.
Yeah. I know. The sun's not even down yet, and he flat out said, "I'm tired. I'm gonna go get in bed." I was like, "Okay, I guess I'll see you." Make sure to get all my stuff out of there, because I'll let you know about this, but I've been having a lot of back issues, so I'm actually not even sleeping in the same bed with him right now. And so I was like, I didn't want to wake him. He's going to bed early, so I got all my stuff out of there. I wouldn't wake the old man. But anyway, all right. So you're drinking bubble water.
Yeah.
Well, once again, I drink alone. I am drinking Dennis made me one of my.
Looks like grapefruit to me.
Yeah, it is. It's cranberry and grapefruit, and I think it's gin. Grapefruit vodka, I think is what I had.
It looks very refreshing. Is it helping with your back?
Actually, probably. I don't know. It's a little soon to tell, but keep you posted. But I do have an ice pack ready for when I'm finished, because then I'm going to go crawl in bed, and then I will be nicely sated because I will have had my cocktail. It all works out very well.
Perfect.
What are you winding down from? What are you working on?
I am working on two things right now. So one is like really businessy and boring, and one is, I mean, I don't think it's boring, but it's boring compared to what else I'm doing, which is writing stuff for my spicy Patreon.
Nice.
So I actually sent you and my other beta readers the bonus epilogue for Blood of the Broken, which is really long. It's like 2 chapters length.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah. And I really like it. It absolutely cannot fit in the book itself, because opens up a can of worms that I'm not going to be exploring in the next book. But it is, without telling anybody what happens, it is something that I'm going to do like a little mini serial for my Patreon following this. But it's cool because it really bridges the 2 series in that the Legacies of Olympus world, which are Atlantis Legacy and All World Online. This bonus epilogue really starts that bridge. So I'm really excited about that. And it works out well because next year I'll be diving more into All World Online again. And yeah. And that series is so fun. And it just feels so like, it's like a guilty pleasure. It has nothing, it's like not marketable at all. And I just like really love it.
That's fun.
But I say that it's not marketable, even though that podcast where it's just like me reading it has done really well. So I don't know, maybe it is marketable or only for people who want to listen to it for free.
Well, and if it's fun and it kind of fills that creative well and lets you, kind of stretch your legs a little bit and do something different, then that's what's important anyway, right?
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
It's
so
exciting.
I am experiencing, because they are all the scenes that I write for that are spicy, read like sexy. And so I am understanding why like some explicit romance writers and erotica authors maybe get a little bit tired of writing it, because I'm like, gosh, like what can I have them do that's different? Because I'm writing like 4 different scenes that are from the same book, and 3 of the scenes are with the same couple, and
Yeah.
I'm just like writing them back to back. I'm like, okay, I gotta like just throw some variety in there for them, at least for the reader's sake.
Yeah, I guess that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's been fun. The other thing I'm working on is transferring email stuff, and that is not exciting.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Well,
How about you?
Yeah, I am kind of shifting gears. So I got Sea of Storms, which is my it's Norse story. I got that sent off to beta readers. So now I'm supposedly working on Land of Fury, but I feel like I get
supposedly.
Well, I sit down to write in the morning on it, and then I get sidetracked on doing other things on my laptop, and it doesn't help that my back is bugging me, so I'm getting distracted very easily. So I'm trying to just be patient with myself, but I'm hoping this weekend I'll get a good chunk done, because I think I'll have like 5 chapters done. And my plan was to be done writing it by the end of this month, because you and I are jumping into something next month.
Yes, we are.
Is quote unquote next week. So
yeah,
so I've got like, anyway, it's all fine. They're all my own deadlines. It's not a big deal, but still, it's like I would like to have some things off my plate, so I'm not feeling like I have a lot to juggle.
Yeah.
But I do it to myself, so it is what it is. Yeah, so just that. And then I guess the other big thing that I'm working on is just redesigning the covers for my Saratoga Falls love story series, which is proving more for us. I mean, I've been putting it off because I knew this would be difficult. Not the designing part, like, because that's fun and learning how to, do stuff in Photoshop and stuff. But it's like deciding, well, we've had this conversation. Does every romance cover have to have a bare-chested man? Like, ugh, I'm kind of over it. But then, yeah, you kind of do. And I'm just like, ugh, I don't want to do that. And so anyway, I'm just really torn on how I want to do my covers. So
did you come to any kind of decisions?
No, I haven't. No. I told myself, after we talked, I was like, if I sit here and I work on this right now, then I'm going to be here for another 3 hours. And then I'm going to be sitting for another hour and a half for the podcast, and my back is going to hate me. So I made myself get up. So I haven't done anything. But I will be glad when that's kind of off my plate, because it's just one thing that's kind of consuming my mind. It's like everything is usually what we do, we talk about, like, if we can't sleep, we scroll social media, or like we get ideas from TikTok for videos and stuff. Well, last night when I couldn't sleep, all I was doing was scanning like stock photos all morning, and the sun wasn't even up. And I was like, oh my God, if I see another like quote unquote chiseled chest and like a creepy douchey smirk on some guy's face, I'm gonna throw up. So
Yeah, I will say it is hilarious. Just look up like hot guys on a stock photo site and just see what pops up. It's super funny. There's some crazy stuff out there.
Oh my God, it was so funny. So I did this video for TikTok yesterday because I was working on the covers, and I was looking at all the stock photos of the guys, right? And there are all these guys, and they're all like trying to do these sexy poses and stuff. And randomly, in the middle of all these sexy guys, there's a meerkat, and its eyes are really wide, and it's like looking out of the corner of its eyes, like, whoa. And I was like, that is the most random thing I've ever seen, but you can't make this shit up. So I had to do a video for TikTok, and I posted it because I was like, what the hell?
It's a hot
this
guy.
Comes up. This creepy meerkat with wide eyes staring at these chiseled bodied men all around them. Oh my God, it was just too funny. The setting was just too funny. I
want to add, we are both also working on something that's really fun, which is we spent a couple hours this afternoon in a virtual meeting going through book covers that we really like as we figure out the kind of like cover design concept for we're having a new cover designer redo the cover for World After as we get ready to write and launch the series officially. So that was really fun. I mean, I love covers. I love looking at covers and thinking about people making new covers for me.
Yeah, no, it's going to be, I'm going to work on the brief tomorrow, but I'm excited to see what they come back with.
Yeah. I think it's a really cool concept.
Yeah. Anyway, so that'll be something fun we can share when we get that all dialed in.
Yeah. Pretty covers.
Have you had any time for other reading pleasures?
No, I finished reading out loud Blood of the Broken in my final revision phase last week, I want to say. And I sent that to my editor on Friday, which was 2 weeks early, which is why I have all this time right now to mess around with email stuff and write my excessively sexy Patreon stories, which is actually really good because there's a chance that I could bank an episode of The Last Vampire Queen. If I get everything done that I need to get done this week, then I might be able to write 2 episodes for that next week, which means that I would have July and August, at least for my big Patreon item, done, which would feel really nice because I think that my time is going to be kind of crunched as we're writing whatever the book is going to be called that we're going to be writing.
I know, right? Well, we should probably share with readers too, because I don't think they realize. So with us writing two, like our world together, but then our own worlds, multiple books, multiple worlds, trying to come up with a title that doesn't somehow mimic in even the slightest way any of our titles for any of our other books using the same words is actually very difficult. We're finding.
Yeah, we were like thinking of doing something Legacy of, which is funny because Legacy of the Lost is one of my books, but I didn't even think about that when we were talking about it.
And then we're saying Legacy of Ruin, and I was like, well, we have Ruin Lands and City of Ruin.
I know. Oh man. It's like trying to name a character.
We were playing with Shadow and Ash, and then I have both. We have Ash, Ashes, and then we have Shadow and Dust and Shadow. So yeah, anyway, there's
just like we've used hilarious. all the individual words. We just have to find new ways to combine them.
Yeah. So anyways, hashtag author problems, right?
Yeah.
So.
So we did not settle on anything. But
no. In fact, we weren't even supposed to be worrying about that right now.
No.
We got that was a whole tangent that took us on a whole spiral, different direction.
Yeah, we're not even supposed to be thinking about the title until next Friday.
Yeah, when we even talk about what we'll be writing, because as of right now, we have it very loosely outlined from like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's like a couple plot points.
Yeah, that's it.
And we know who the main characters are.
That's it. Yeah. But anyway, all right. So, what am I reading? No longer beta reading. So I am listening to. I started listening to Megan Quinn's That Highland Fling, and she's really witty and funny, which is great. But this one has Scottish narrators. And you can tell that the male narrator is legitimately Scottish. He's not like an American putting on an accent, because when he says American words, they sound very off. It's really funny. Like, just, I guess, the way they pronounce the vowels and stuff, you know, it's just like, is that even the British way to say it? I don't know. But anyway, so I've been listening to that. It's kind of fun. I also started listening to It Happened One Summer. It's a rom-com by Tessa Bailey, which is also like a huge sensation on TikTok as well. And then, but this is my current paperback or hardcover that I'm reading.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah, it's actually, they say it's like, it's Gothic. It's historical Gothic. And they say that it's a mix between Rebecca and Mexican Gothic, which I haven't read yet. But
that's what I was thinking. It reminded me of the cover.
Yeah. So I'm only like 4 or 5 chapters in, but so far it's interesting. So yeah.
Did you say you're listening to it, or are you reading?
No, I'm actually reading this one.
Wow.
I know.
I do want to say I haven't started it yet, but I'm about to dive into Sea of Storms, which is LP's book that she just sent out for beta reading.
A weird, also there. Distant part of my mind was like, that sounds familiar.
It's yours.
Oh my God. It's been a long
life. And then I'm also in the middle of, I paused it while we were reading Evelyn Hugo. Yeah. But I am reading Kingdom of Ruin, which is the 3rd book in KF Breene's Deliciously Dark Fairy Tales.
All of those have ruin in the title, huh?
Yes, that's the thread.
Yeah. Okay.
Because and she didn't, I think so A Ruin of Roses is the first one. And then all of the rest of them are like, it's a Throne of Ruin, Kingdom of Ruin, and Queen of Ruin.
Clever.
Clever girl.
Okay, so we should probably dive into the book stuff. Do you think I should read the description first and then do the spoiler alert, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could say spoiler alert now since you're talking about it.
Since I already did.
Spoiler alert.
Okay, everybody, this is the official spoiler. We are heading into the zone.
Nothing is safe.
Nothing.
If you don't want to know how the book ends or the big twist or anything.
Yeah.
Stop
okay.
Listening.
So here's a little bit of a little blurby blurb, a little book blurb. Okay, so don't ask. I don't know. I'm going on fumes, guys. Okay.
Your fingernail polish is really pink.
I know. It's actually pinker than that. It's a little more neon. You can't really tell, but
can't stop staring at it.
Sorry.
It matches the water bottle my son picked out from Costco.
Oh, that's nice. I knew he had good taste. He did tell me good luck with my book covers today.
He did.
That was very super adorable. Oh my gosh. All right. The 7 husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Aging and reclusive Hollywood movie icon Evelyn Hugo is finally ready to tell the truth about her glamorous and scandalous life. But when she chooses unknown magazine reporter Monique Grant for the job, no one is more astounded than Monique herself. Why her and why now? Monique is not exactly on top of the world. Her husband left her and her professional life is going nowhere. Regardless of why Evelyn has selected her to write her biography, Monique is determined to use this opportunity to jumpstart her career. Summoned to Evelyn's luxurious apartment, Monique listens in fascination as the actress tells her story, from making her way to Los Angeles in 1950s to her decision to leave show business in the 80s, and of course, the 7 husbands along the way. Evelyn unspools a tale of ruthless ambition, unexpected friendship, and a great forbidden love. Monique begins to feel a very real connection to the legendary star, but as Evelyn's story nears its conclusion, it becomes clear that her life intersects with Monique's own in tragic and irreversible ways. Sorry, I had to struggle with that one. Anyway, I made it. Okay, so again, we're heading into the spoiler zone. We are going to chat about many things.
Yes.
All right. So
I do want to say, so we both read the audiobook. I thought it was done really well. There's multiple perspectives, but in a unique way, like in the way that it's Monique's perspective. And then there's all these news articles and stories and stuff. And then there's Evelyn's perspective as she's telling her story. So we had, I believe it was 3 narrators. Is that right?
Yes.
We had Julia Whalen, who's like one of my favorite narrators ever, who read all of the news stories. And then I don't think I was familiar with the other two narrators, but one narrator was for Monique, the journalist, and then one narrator was for Evelyn telling her story. And I thought that everybody was picked really well.
Yeah, so I'm just looking to see the book, how they differentiated between the three parts. So the newspaper clippings actually look like newspaper clippings.
Oh, that's super cool. It's like a
in the
scrapbook.
book. Yeah, and then it looks like when they go between the two narrators, so you have Evelyn's story as she's telling it
To
but
Monique,
then you also
basically.
yeah, so you have Monique's perspective as
Mhm.
she's hearing it, but then you also have Evelyn's voice as we're quote unquote reading the biography.
Yeah.
I think
It's like, I think it's like we're listening to the recordings
yeah,
that Monique has her tape recorder out listening to Evelyn tell her story, basically.
yeah, and then they sprinkle in the actual biography throughout to continue on. We like the quote unquote the recording would stop and then her biography would pick up where it
Mhm.
left off, and it would read more like a story than an interview. So
Mhm.
anyway, it was really clever as far as how she did it. I thought that was great. And then I don't know if you read a little bit about this, but it's based on it's not based on actual
Yeah.
people, but it's inspired by the lives
Elizabeth
of
Taylor.
and
Yeah.
then Rita Hayward too.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
I remember looking up, I didn't look up any of the other husbands.
Hayward.
And I didn't look up Celia. So I'm curious if they were based in, like, Harry especially. I'd be curious if he was based on anybody. But I did look up Dawn Adler, her first husband or her second husband, I guess. And I couldn't figure out if he was actually based on anybody or not.
Well, yeah, that's true. Sorry, I'm making a note to remind myself to ask you a question later. Yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling they're all kind of like conglomeration of probably specific people, actors in history. But I would love to be a fly on the wall to see, how she was going, how the author was going about doing all this, getting all this information and building these stories, because it's not, it's historical fiction, right? Or maybe it's even romance. Like, I don't actually know what it's considered. It is considered historical fiction?
I don't know. I don't know that I would consider it romance. I would maybe consider it like
fiction.
Women's fiction.
Yeah, it just says fiction on here.
Yeah. Book club book. I think I would consider it a book club book.
Definitely. No, I've heard a lot of people say it's a romance. That's why I said that, but it definitely it's not.
No.
It has some romance in it, but it's not portrayed that way at all.
I was like bawling for the final hour of it. My son is just like keeps looking at me. I'm like, fine.
Just like, Mama, what's wrong? Nothing. Ignore it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that was rough.
Well, okay. So let's dive in. I'm trying to figure out where we should start this. So I guess the big question is, I feel like there's two big questions, and one of them is around Evelyn herself, and then the other one is around like the big plot
I know the thing you're talking
about, let's start there, because otherwise we're gonna
I feel like everything else is going to touch on that. Yeah.
So did you
I had no idea. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm anticipating the question.
No. So the big twist is, just because we have to get it out there. So yeah, she had 7 husbands, but the love of her life was actually her best friend, and she was a woman. Her name's
her
Celia.
Wife. The final line of the book is so good. I loved it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
I could just something like, I could tell you, or I don't know. I could tell you about my 7 husbands, but I really think you'd rather hear me tell you about my wife.
Yeah.
And it was just like, nobody knew that she was, I guess, bisexual is what she considers herself. But
yeah, exactly. That was a big point that she made. But yeah, so it is, I guess this is a love story in a lot of ways, because it's
not a romance. I would not call this book a romance. Right.
So, so it's just very interesting, because the whole book begins with Monique asking Evelyn, like, I don't know if she said, I can't remember if she said Dawn or Ernie or who she said,
greatest love.
Was he your greatest love? And she wouldn't really, she was shying around the question, and she was like, I did care for him, and then you don't learn until later,
Yeah.
like, who she really loves. So anyways, you had no idea, right?
I had no idea. I had seen a TikTok. So this is a book that we picked based on it being popular on TikTok.
Yeah.
Along with it being recommended by your sister. So I had seen a TikTok of somebody saying like, they're like holding up the 7 husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And they're like, this book is not about Evelyn Hugo's 7 husbands. And they're like mad because they felt like it was false advertising.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't think they were mad about Evelyn Hugo falling in love with a woman. I think they were just like, it was like
Well, it's funny because it's one of those situations where I didn't expect it at all. But the closer she became with Celia, and not just as friends, nothing happened or anything, but the closer they got and the worse her husband Don got, because he was abusive and he was just drunk and he was horrible. So the worse he got and the closer she got with Celia, the more I was hoping something would happen.
I loved the okay, their relationship was really rocky, but I loved, and they both had big flaws. But I loved how they were able to multiple times find their ways back to each other.
Yeah.
I thought it was really sweet.
Yeah. So this kind of ties into why I didn't really care for it. Was written great. Malibu Rising. I can see why people like it. But so the author writes books that are very relatable and very realistic, I think. There was so many things in this book, which we can get to in a second, that I thought women in general could easily relate to. And I think that's why I didn't really care for Malibu Rising, because there were way too many things that hit too close to home for me. And it was just like depressing. I didn't want to read it. So I didn't think it was a bad book, but I did not enjoy it. Whereas I know a lot of people loved it. So I think that's really kind of interesting when I think about this story, because I can't relate a lot. Obviously, I've never, tried to go to Hollywood. I'm not trying to be an actress or anything, but there are these struggles that Evelyn has, and all the women have, in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, even the 80s, that I think we in general could relate to them on our own, level in some way. Yeah. So I guess my question is, did you think that Evelyn is a likable character, a realistic character? She's a very strong personality.
Yeah,
so
I loved her. I loved her.
Mm-hmm.
I really loved her. I thought she was extremely stubborn. But she was in her own way very brilliant and like strong-willed, and
she had a lot of gumption.
Or I guess you would say she had grit. But she just had guts, and she went for it. And it's like the idea that she could have married Don and been abused by him, just is such a strong woman could have been stuck in that for years. I guess it was 2 years, I think, that they were married, just as a reflection on that time period.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Well, and then they get a divorce and her whole life is turned upside down because he's a man and he can take everything.
Yeah. He's a man, he gets her Oscar nomination taken away and everything. Like,
yeah. I think one of the really interesting things about her too is, and this could be up for debate, but I think it speaks true to women and our lives and situation and things that we have to kind of think 2 steps ahead a lot of the time. She's really clever, and she knows that people only love her for her body, not because she's really pretty, but because of her body. And so she uses that in any way that she can to get what she needs. Yeah. And I think that a lot of people would just quickly pass judgment on that. But in an era where you either live with your father who abuses you, or you are homeless, like, what do? You do what you need to do. And then that's what you do for the rest of your life. Whatever you need to do, you're always 2 steps ahead, because you're a survivor, because you have ambition, because you want more out of life than what you were born into, whatever it is, So I think it's one of those situations. She's one of those characters where she could come off on a lot of different lights, like she could be a tramp, or she could whatever, but I know exactly what you're saying. Got it done, you know?
And I also feel like she's a good character to demonstrate the like, I'm not going to be able to think of it. How unfair it is, like a man doing the things that she's doing. Nobody would look twice or judge them, you know?
Yeah.
But because she is like, you know, and she's not even like sleeping around or any, like she marries, she marries everyone.
Yeah. She doesn't sleep around. That's for sure. Yeah.
I mean, she's not a tramp. She's very much not. I mean, she had 7 husbands and a wife, but she was very principled. She definitely had a moral compass of her own.
Right.
I would say.
Well, and I think it speaks a lot when you talk about she had 7 husbands, because they were all married for a very specific purpose.
Yes.
You know, it's not that she's, you know, flighty and in and out of love.
No.
Like, they were all married. She married every single one for a very specific purpose.
But the way that the press treated her was so cruel. Like, Evelyn Hugo is at it again. Is this lucky number 6? Or like, I mean,
yeah,
just like they treated her just like this floozy, like she was just some dummy who.
What do you think about the whole, because we're sorry, this isn't supposed to be like some big feminist chat or anything, but it's just the nature of the book, right? So it's like, what do you think about that whole part in the beginning where, so she's married to Don, second husband, and he's the one who drinks and abuses her or whatever. He has his good days, whatever, but he's sitting there and he's abusing her, and she gets the shit end as far as journalist stuff being leaked about her not being able to appease her husband and please him and all this stuff. And so she has to go and pretend that she has a miscarriage just so that people will get her out of the limelight and stop spreading untrue things about her. Like, just that kind of stuff. It's like the fact that you have to like orchestrate these things. Like I said, she's always thinking 2 steps ahead. You know, it's like everything that happened, whether it's what happened with Harry at the end, whether it's figuring out when she goes to Vegas. And I loved that chapter when she marries that guy. And the whole chapter is her explaining how,
oh my God, I know, that was brilliant.
Yeah. She was explaining, well, this is how you get a guy to marry you. And then
when you want the marriage to be annulled the next day, this is what you have to do.
So these are the things you do, but you don't say you don't blink and smile at him too often, because you want him to come to you, and you only bring up marriage once, and then you wait until, you know, it's just, it was really, really cool and really smart the way it was written.
And it really was like you were hearing her tell you, like giving you advice, like, if you want to do this, this is what you need to do.
And again, some would say that's very manipulative, and I guess it is, but
she worked within the world and the society and the era that she didn't have any other choices to do. Like the whole time. So she did this. She married the guy in Vegas. It's like a rock star or something, to protect her and Celia, who were living together at this point, because they could have been arrested or potentially killed, I guess.
Put in the asylum.
Put into the asylum. That was the big one for them. Because for the homosexual men, it was more like, other guys are probably going to kill you, basically. But for her and Celia, it would kill their careers and probably lock them up in the asylum, if it came out. So this was her way, because people were talking about it or suspecting it, and this was her way of like getting them to stop.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying, like, this whole, like her as a person, like as a character, she's so clever, and not because she wants to be, like, she has to be, like, this is how she survives,
but it's like you said, it's like she's a survivor. She's so
always
smart,
ahead of, like, and she's trying to explain to even Celia, like, half the time is like, no, because she grew up with money, she doesn't really care. Whereas Evelyn, this is her life. Like, she has come from nothing, and so if she loses everything, then she's screwed, you know? So her whole thing is like, we can't just throw it away. We have to be smart about it. And I feel like, at least I related a lot with that. Obviously not the same situation, but I feel like I'm always trying to be over prepared, you know what I mean, in whatever it is in life or whatever, because I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. It's just, it really resonated with me. I thought it was really, really interesting. So yes, I guess, so we both think she's a very likable character.
Yeah. I thought she was an excellent character.
Yeah.
Maybe she wasn't always good, but I thought she was very likable.
Yeah. Were there any other characters specifically that you really liked or were drawn to?
Well, I mean, the other main character is Monique, and I felt like I could really relate to a lot of what she was going through, specifically with her relationship with her deceased father, being somebody who lost their father when they were a young kid. Also, there's just this weird connection that you feel like you're always wondering. I mean, my dad didn't. It wasn't like a same kind of tragic accident as Monique's, but which it relates to Evelyn and stuff that goes on that gets revealed at the end. But just that whole sense, it's just like always something that is lingering over you, this like absent thing that like this, what would they think of me? What advice would they have given me in this situation? That kind of stuff. And I felt like Monique's kind of like inner relationship with her dead dad for me was really relatable.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of people who have lost a parent young would feel that way. Or even like, I know you were really close with your grandpa. I wonder if that would have been relatable for you.
Yeah, I don't know. Definitely a different level for sure. Like it makes me wonder for you, hearing how that affected you, that story, part of the storyline affected you. How did you feel with the big reveal at the very end with what Evelyn did to her dad? Like, how did that make you feel after resonating or having a connection with Monique in that way?
No, I think I loved, I don't know. I almost think it made me like Evelyn more, which sounds wrong, but because she would do anything. She would have done anything to protect Harry. Like Harry was her longest husband and,
her beard, pretty much.
Yeah, her beard. And she was his beard, basically. Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
So like Celia married Harry's partner and Evelyn married Harry, but they were really with each other. And so they were like, she said they were just like a group of 4 beards.
Yeah. Which I think he was my second favorite character. I
Harry?
really liked him a lot. Yeah.
Oh, I loved him.
Yeah.
And it was so sad watching what happened to him after John died.
Yeah.
And how, I mean, I think the other thing that made Evelyn so relatable to me, or not kind of relatable, the thing that made her the most relatable to me, because I don't feel like I have anywhere near as much gumption as she has, but how she describes how her life changed when her daughter was born, that I find so extremely relatable. And it's impossible to explain like that feeling, but I feel like she really showed it in that book. How it's like everything, like it just like supersedes everything all of a sudden, and it's just unexplainable. I don't know.
I'm kind of just now, like, it's just dawning on me. Like, I remember thinking about it the other day when I finished listening, but then it kind of was out of my mind. Her book is nothing but struggle, and then she loses everyone. By the end of the book, she's the last one standing, and I just feel like, and even that, is gone. So I just feel like she's definitely resilient for sure. If you think about all the things that she's been through between her dad, her husbands, everything with Celia, then Harry dying, and Celia dying, and then her daughter dying. Like, just like, oh my God,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just, I don't
now
know,
you can see why I was like crying for the final hour of the book.
Yeah. Like,
it's like they just throw all of these deaths at you all of a sudden. It's just like,
yeah. Was there anything that you didn't particularly care for about the story?
There was one thing that I did not like. There was a line, I feel like it was about halfway through, and it's in Monique's chapter. I think it's the end of a chapter, the final line in a chapter. And she thinks something like, it's a foreshadowing line that I hate. I really hate it when authors put this in their books, that something like, I had no idea that by the end of our time together, I would hate her, or something like that.
Yeah.
Totally, and I was just like, oh, come on. Like, don't, like, I feel like there's enough mystery already. I didn't need that. It certainly didn't make me not like the book. I thought the book was excellent. But I felt that one, I was just like, That is not necessary. I already am curious. There's a bit, Evelyn's given enough hints, little like comments that she's made. Like, I did not think that that was necessary. And that I've totally been tempted to do that kind of thing in my books. I think I've put stuff like that into beta drafts before and had people be like, I feel like you need to take this out.
You know, there's one thing at the very end that I thought was kind of weird. And maybe I just didn't catch it, but I feel like her death was all very like quick and timely after everything the story was told, because she kept like hemming and hawing about doing the photo shoot spread and the exclusive pieces, and okay, next week, and we'll talk next week, and then all of a sudden a week later after everything's finished she just is dead, right? So I'm just like, that seemed very convenient, I guess. Like,
well, she killed herself, right?
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Oh shit, I missed that. Yeah, see, I was gonna say.
Yeah, she took a bunch of pills. They're in the article at the end.
Oh, did I like skip
it says that
it?
they called it an accidental overdose, but Monique knows that she did it herself. Did you not read the last chapter?
I wonder if it's
as Monique is like getting on the subway and going back and forth between whether she should go back to Evelyn's apartment because she knows that Evelyn is going to off herself.
Has died. Oh, the New York Tribune. Yeah, I think I did read this. Yeah, all of her money goes to the LGBTQ communities. Is that where it says it? Well, anyway, I don't know how I missed that.
But you don't remember Monique wondering whether Evelyn, or thinking that she should go back and stop Evelyn from killing herself? You don't remember that?
Mm-mm. That's why this is weird. I wonder if it's skipped or something. I don't remember that at all.
Huh.
Should I call 911? Should I stop her?
Yeah, that's also when I was crying.
I think I somehow skipped that.
Oh.
But I do remember the Evelyn Hugo legendary film siren and all the money she left to the. Okay, so that makes more sense, because I was like, how did she just die? She got her story out, and then she just took her final breath, and she was okay. Yeah, that made no sense to me. I was like, that's so convenient. I totally think I missed a chapter somehow.
It's a good chapter.
Yeah, I kind of want to go back and listen to it now.
Yeah, Monique, she doesn't forgive her, but she says she thinks she will be able to forgive her.
Yeah. I walk around carrying my phone when I go play I have more times than I care to admit. I touch it with my finger, and I bet you I skipped chapters or something. I bet you I did something like that. That wouldn't surprise me. Okay, well, hey, apparently I didn't read the whole story, so I'm fired. Okay, so rumor has it, aka not a rumor, Netflix is making a movie about this story. So is there somebody specific that if you were casting, that you might think would be good for Evelyn, and or any of the other characters in the story? Is there anybody that comes to mind?
I don't know. I feel like Evelyn has to she has to be beautiful. First of all, so many times in the book, it's mentioned that she's like the most beautiful woman in the world. So she has to be beautiful. Mm-hmm. But she also has, like what Monique says near the end, that she has like that thing, that inexplicable thing, mm-hmm. So that and maybe all celebrities have that. I don't know. That's how they become who they are. But I don't know. That makes it really hard.
I don't know. Oh, I know. I had a very hard time. I knew who I would cast for Harry right away, but Evelyn, because you also Evelyn has to be beautiful, but she also has to have a specific background and ethnicity, and she also has to have that, not just that whatever that something is, but she's not a pushover. She needs to be somebody she's not some little delicate flower. She's got to be so the person that came to mind, and this is for
younger Evelyn.
No, for younger Evelyn, the only person I could think of, which I went and I looked at who the quote unquote dream casting is for them, and it was actually the same person that I picked, but she's not I don't think she does it justice, but her name is Ana de Armas.
Because that's right. Because Evelyn is
She's Cuban, right?
Cuban, I want to
I
say.
think she's Cuban.
Yeah, she's Cuban, but Hollywood makes her
blonde hair.
blonde.
And
yeah. So she's got tan skin, blonde hair.
Yeah. But so I don't know. For young, I'm not quite so
I know who
sure.
you're talking about. I don't feel like she has the like.
I don't think she has the stature or the gumption. No,
the
that's what I'm saying. That's what
the
I'm saying. Yeah, she was like the only person I could really think of that I thought could maybe carry it out in her younger years. But really, and again, the background isn't necessarily there, but I feel like a older Jane Fonda would be a really good older Evelyn Hugo.
Yeah.
I don't know why. She's got that spirit, like that spunk, you know, and she'd be like, I'm not going to give you that information. You're going to come back tomorrow and then we'll talk about it then, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that I had looked up if Evelyn Hugo was based on anybody early on, and I saw that she was based on Elizabeth Taylor, and that is just who I kept picturing.
Oh, interesting.
Which is not helpful. I understand.
Oh, that's funny. No, but I mean, yeah, I don't really have anybody in mind that I was picturing actually when I was reading it either. I do Harry, because he was one of my favorite characters. For some reason, right away, somebody came to mind for him. And that's Arnie Hammer. Do you know who that is?
I do.
I think he'd be a really good Harry. He's really like kind of like dapper and like he's suave and he's just like very attractive. And I could totally see him totally being a film producer / married to Evelyn and her beard at the same time.
The only person I really had somebody in mind for was Dawn Adler. And I don't know if it was the name or what, but I kept picturing
Don Johnson. No, I'm just kidding.
The Rock. That's not Don. That's Dwayne. Sorry.
No, it's okay. But
sorry,
still,
The Rock.
That's a funny picture too.
No, I kept picturing I can't think of what his name is, but Don Draper from Mad Men.
Oh, Ham.
Yeah, John Hamm.
John Hamm.
That's what I kept picturing for Don.
Oh yeah, very kind of entitled and like
he's supposed
to was like the most attractive man in the world or something. Yeah. I don't know who I would cast this guy as, but I feel like he'd fit in there somehow, and that's Oscar Isaac. You know, the guy who plays in a gazillion things, but most recently I've seen him in the Moon Knight or whatever.
Oh, he was great.
Yeah. I think he could be like, I don't know who it could be, but maybe Ernie, a younger, or Eddie, Ernie. Wait, what was her first husband's name? Eddie or
Ernie, I think. Yeah.
Or maybe
who married her when she was 14.
Oh my God. See, yeah.
What about Celia? She's supposed to be very girl next door.
I don't know.
I feel like whoever plays Evelyn has to have like a deep voice. It can't be like,
because that's how she was kind of read.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
But they have to, or just like a distinctive voice or something.
Very distinguished voice or something.
Yeah. It can't be breathy or.
Oh, definitely not.
Like.
Which, yeah. That made me think of Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah. That was, when I first read it, I was like, is this supposed to be based on Marilyn Monroe? But then I was like, but Marilyn Monroe didn't live to be old, obviously. But I was like, well, maybe it's like, what if Marilyn Monroe lived to be old? Yeah. But then I looked it up and saw. Well, but now it makes me curious about all of Elizabeth Taylor's husbands.
Did she have 7, or is that?
I'm not sure, but I think there were many.
Interesting. Yeah, I really like the twist about how she's the greatest love of her life isn't even any of her 7 husbands. I just love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I was super curious about what the tie was with Monique and why she was so adamant about Monique telling her story. And I was like,
did you see that coming by any chance?
No.
Once you knew that she was going to hate her at the end, did you guess why?
No. I was thinking that maybe she was like somehow Celia's daughter, or like,
I kept thinking that too. And then I was like, no, because she's from Cuba. So that wouldn't work.
Yeah. I was really, yeah, uncertain. So
I don't know. But anyway, so overall, we give it 5 stars, I'm assuming.
yeah. Oh yeah. Highly recommend. I've already recommended it to multiple people.
Yeah. I need to do a little review for it for TikTok, but
yeah, it was, I mean, the way that the story was told, especially in Evelyn's voice, it just was so, I felt like I could see it, like this Hollywood, and I'm not like a Hollywood person. I don't follow all the stars. Like I don't pay attention to any of that. I'm so out of touch with pop culture, but I still felt like super drawn into that whole lifestyle and the glamour of it and everything. And also the, dark side, the like pulling back that, I guess I like to be fooled by the glamour of it. Maybe is the reason why I don't pay attention to the stuff, because I don't want to know the nitty gritty. But this like pulled back the curtain.
Yeah, I'm just reflecting on when Celia and Evelyn first kind of got to know each other, and how at first I think Evelyn was almost like just jealous in a way, just because Celia was younger and she could act really well. She was gorgeous, but then she's like, okay, I'll humor her and go to lunch with her so she can be seen with me, and my fame can rub off on her, whatever. But then like she called her out, and then they became friends because Celia liked her straightforwardness and her really I think she must have just really thought she was attractive, like everybody else, and wanted to hang out with her. But no, that was good.
Yeah,
that was really funny. It actually, kind of going back, it makes me, I don't think I will, just because I don't have time, but it almost makes me want to go back and listen to it again so that I could pick up on things that I wouldn't have really got before, or something. So especially the second to last chapter.
I definitely think you should read that.
Or, I've been off and on some pain meds, so I don't know. Maybe I was just not coherent when I was listening to it.
It did not sink into your memory centers.
I was probably like gritting my teeth trying to wrap Patreon books to send out, and I was like totally trying to get through that and distracted or something.
Lindsey loves her patrons.
I do. Oh, I do. I almost blood, sweat, and tears for them. So no, I'm just kidding. Okay, so any last minute things before we wrap this up?
I don't think so.
Do you think you want to go read any more of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books?
I would consider it, which is saying a lot.
Yeah,
because it's not my usual thing.
You.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm actually wondering, because Malibu Rising was also narrated by Julia Whelan, so it makes me wonder if she does all of her books.
Oh, interesting.
Audiobooks.
Yeah, based on what you've said about Malibu Rising, I don't think I would choose to read that one.
Well, interesting enough, it's also about like famous family and all the famous kids and stuff. So I'm starting to wonder, I think a lot of her books are about like Hollywood people. And yeah, so I wonder if that's like her thing. I don't know. I wonder if she has any books that aren't about Hollywood or famous people. I don't know. Interesting though.
It is interesting.
Okay, so that's it for this episode. Thanks for listening, everyone. Don't forget to check out the show notes for this episode's links and book recs. I'm going to send LF a link to put in the show notes of the Dreamcast that people are posting for the Netflix movie, so people can see if you're interested.
I want to go look at it.
Yeah. We'll be back in a couple weeks to chat about our next book to screen adaptation pick, which is A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. Yeah. In the meantime, if you enjoy the show, please leave us a review at wherever you listen, and be sure to join the No Shelf Control Facebook group to weigh in on our upcoming books, because I've been posting in there before our chats just to get reader feedback and see what other people are thinking about these books, because a lot of them are very popular. So I would think a lot of people have read them. So anyways, be sure to follow us for more about that. And until then, happy reading adventures, everybody.
Happy reading.
Ta-ta.